Okay, I'm hanging up. Hi, can you hear me, Donna? Hi, Donna. All right, I guess you can hear me. Amazing. We're just going to give it a few minutes, have more people join. Hello. All right, just trying to get my bearings here. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes for more people to join, as it's just 1 minute before 2. Okay, it's 12 o'clock and welcome to Live with CAFA. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Vicky Milner. I'm the proud president of this organization. We started it about, I guess, 8 years, just over 8 years now. And, you know, this year was supposed to be our 7th awards gala. We had postponed it from May to the fall. And we do have a date secured in the fall, but we're just kind of waiting to see what some of the guidelines are going to be from Health Canada. And hopefully we're going to be able to do the event, but we would never do it, you know, obviously if, you know, it's not safe. So stay tuned for more information in terms of the actual award show. But we've been really busy, you know, as every, you know, sector is struggling right now, but really busy wanting to help the fashion industry. So we hope that these Live with CAFAs have been helpful. We've really wanted to jump into action and give you not only a place to be like a resource for information during COVID-19, but also provide some insight into what other people in the industry are feeling right now, from other designers, stylists, influencers, retailers. I think it's so important right now to hear people's perspective, especially we've been home kind of working alone, and our community right now has to rally now more than ever together, not only to show support for one another, to share ideas, to share knowledge, but really to lift each other up. It's crucial. You know, I know personally, I have 3 daughters. I'm home with them, and obviously whoever has kids, you know, there's the whole new homeschooling aspect that everyone has had to adapt to, and it is a balancing act for sure. You know, some days I'm super productive and I wake up with my coffee and I know exactly what needs to get done. And other days, you know, like most of you, my day is thrown off completely. And, you know, before I blink, it's, you know, 10 o'clock at night and you're thinking, look, where did the day go and what did I do today? So whoever is experiencing that, you are definitely not alone. I've spoken to so many different people who have those kind of moments during the day. And I think through COVID-19, what's really happened is we've had to not only adjust to a new kind of normal, and but there's been a mourning period. I think a lot of designers had to like quote unquote like mourn their businesses, mourn their business models. A lot of people, have struggled to think about the new kind of way of doing business and adapt to different strategies. But there's a period of, grieving where you've built a business and you have X amount of employees, and now that has to have all changed, and you've had to go back to maybe a smaller company with very, very different goals. But it's so important for all brands, I think, and the more I speak to different ones, to adapt and kind of let go of the old way of doing things, because that's not going to be the case anymore. So the idea sharing and kind of looking at what this new kind of way of doing business is really critical for survival right now, and then also to be able to thrive post COVID-19. So I was thinking about what I wanted to kind of talk to everyone about today. There's been a few things that have come up, and one of the things that and thank you, Paul Hardy, if you're listening right now, because he sent me a link to something this morning that I wanted to address. It's a movement, I guess. It's called Rewiring Fashion, and you can check out the link rewiringfashion.org. It's facilitated by the Business of Fashion, and it's a conversation that they're bringing together globally and engaging, whether you're a designer, a CEO, a leader of a brand, different executives. And they've kind of pinpointed three big issues, within fashion that I know independently I've been talking to a lot of people about. And it's interesting that these are the constant themes globally that's come up. One thing that this moment has given everyone, obviously, is time to pause and think. And, we've never had a moment in time like this where everyone can really assess, how have we been doing business? Is it really the right way? How did we get here? And is this a time to kind of pivot and do some things differently? And truth be told, I don't know how you guys feel, but the only path to change is if everyone, or mostly everyone, or there's very key leaders who are going to adapt these new ways of doing business. Because I find that independently it's very hard, but collectively, obviously, it's a lot easier, and not only by country, but just as an industry in general, because we live in a global economy and we do business everywhere. So the same way how we've gotten to the place where we have before COVID, in the same way, people are going to have to adapt to maybe a new way of thinking and a new way of doing business. So the three key things that Rewiring Fashion has kind of identified is the fashion calendar. A lot of talk has been about, is it an outdated fashion calendar? Is it really, it's out of sync for, the seasons, and how is that gonna work? Can we change the fashion calendar right now? And it's also very tied to, obviously, buying periods and product deliveries. And it's a very important point, and it's something that's going to affect everyone. And some of the solutions they've come up with, and this is more like they're trying to get people kind of signed on to these new ideas and thought starters, and it's definitely allowed for amazing discussion. But some of the things they've talked about is, can you combine men's and women's fashion weeks and do longer full price sell-through periods to minimize also travel requirements? Can you align these fashion shows with the current seasons and more weather appropriate collections, so when they hit the stores, it's in tune with what consumers really want at the time, and synchronize the buying periods with current season's presentations to cut back on travel. So these are all, I think, very valid points, and definitely looking at what the fashion calendar is going to be after this is going to be like a critical point of how everyone's going to do business. Another thing that they've identified is the model of the fashion show, and that's all globally being in huge debate right now. How will fashion shows continue? A lot of people have like are looking at digital solutions. Obviously, I know even with CAFA as an event and a lot of charities, we're all looking digitally right now to see, well, if we are not allowed to congregate in large numbers, we have to pivot and look at digital solutions. So are there going to be digital solutions for fashion shows where people are going to completely reimagine how their collections are going to be produced and shown to the rest of the world? Again, looking at the calendar of fashion shows, there might be brands who don't want to compete on a specific calendar and break away on their own and do their own thing. So that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch. I think also because of the digital age we live in, it's so easy. We've seen it. There's so many copycats and people who have manufacturing capabilities. So when fashion shows start, people see those collections, and before the original brand behind those fashion shows get to market, there's already other similar designs, at a much lower, obviously, cost. They're just it's being copycatted. So can we solve for that problem as well with a different calendar and a different model for fashion shows? I think also the whole subject of discounting, there's been this incredible pressure from a lot of fashion brands, and it's almost like a hamster on a wheel, I find, about the timing of promotions and discounted sales. And speaking to a lot of brands, it's a lot of pressure, and obviously it cuts the lead time of having regular price merchandise, which we all know is like where the current margins are set by designers. That's where their true profits come in. And can we reimagine the whole kind of subject matter of sales and discounting and the timing of all of these markdowns? Because I know for a lot of designers, if they don't coincide with what a lot of people are doing, they're going to get lost in the shuffle and they're not going to gain that consumer dollar. So that pressure, can it be completely rethought? Pushing back end of season markdown periods, putting a stop to broad mid-season sales was another point that was discussed. And then, looking at, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Singles Day, all of these kind of big sale days, can they be reimagined as well a little bit? I know obviously right now there's a lot of inventory because of COVID, and a lot of brands are going to be inundated with the spring summer 2020 merchandise, and are looking to get rid of that stock and kind of start, I guess, fresh with fall. But is there a way to kind of set the bar right now and rethink how the pressure of discounting might change? So these are all like I said, they've identified these like three categories: the fashion calendar, discounting, and the role of the fashion show itself. That's going to be very interesting to see how things roll out. Also, in speaking to a lot of designers and brands right now, there's been a lot of conversation around like consumer sentiment. I think we can all agree, personally, even though we've been reevaluating our dollar and what we spend it on, reevaluating the value of things. We've had the time, but also I think with COVID-19, it's really given us like a minute to think like, oh my God, like anything can happen at any moment. And am I ready for that? Like, obviously from a business perspective, 100%. With our personal finances, there's a lot of people who don't have obviously the luxury maybe of saving money or putting money away, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. But now, especially because of this moment in time, people are going to be looking at, well, if I have any discretionary income, what am I going to be spending it on? And I think they're really looking at brands from an emotional level, the brands that give them security. Even from a marketing perspective, I've been reading a lot about, how brands right now, because it's such an emotional time, and there's a lot of fear and anxiety about, what's going to happen next. Brands that can come across in a calm, stable manner in their communication, brands that, and we've seen those commercials too, but brands also that are, there for the community, because there is this whole kind of moment where we all have to stay home to save each other, and kind of looking at the greater good as opposed to just like me mentality. That's going to stay for a while. And I think, brands who understand that can really tap in to that emotion of our society right now about for the greater good, and how can I be part of the greater solution, and wanting to support my community more, and wanting to support the brands that have that value system. So it's going to be interesting to see, and that goes across all categories, but obviously fashion, we wear the clothes every day, we're going to continue to wear the clothes every day. So what are the brands that are thinking along those same lines? And I think we're going to see a trend in consumers spending any discretionary money that they have on brands that they feel like really connected to right now. I think, like I said, emotions are really high, and I personally, I go back and forth between, a lot of hope and excitement, and then there are moments, because I'm human, you watch the news a little bit too much, and it's sad, and that's okay, because I think you wouldn't be the person you are if you didn't feel kind of sad for those stories, whether you've been personally affected by COVID because a friend or a family member that's actually been sick, to just listening to the stories of some people who have gone through it, to obviously the incredible frontline support workers and healthcare workers who are going through what they are doing, and looking at who our heroes are, and looking at, what this world really means. I think that emotional state is going to have like a bigger impact than we even imagine, because psychologically, on how we buy things, and how brands have to like really understand that and communicate that. I think we're going to see those brands really be very successful from this moment, if they can understand that level of emotion that's happening right now amongst people. I also, more than ever, and obviously this is what CAFA is all about, is promoting Canadian brands, designers, talent, creative artists. More than ever, I think we have to support local. And we've seen it too in the stories of, your local restaurant, or your local florist, or any business that is in your neighborhood that obviously is struggling a lot during this time. That definitely goes with fashion brands. It's so important. There's a trickle down effect, and I've always said this, when you support our businesses, you're not just supporting, you're buying it because it's an amazing dress, or really cute earrings, or whatever the product is, and you love it, and it's your aesthetic. But it's more than that. You're buying it, you're supporting, there's a human behind that brand, there is a family behind that brand. You're obviously helping their business, you're helping the economy. And I think COVID-19 has really kind of even heightened that sentiment. And I know people have reached out to me now more than ever to say, okay, like I buy Canadian sometimes, but I really want to make an effort to support some of these brands. Send me some brands. I really want to, for those who can buy right now, want to do it. And that actually just leads me to mention that CAFA has partnered with Fashion Magazine. We're going to be announcing very soon an incredible online initiative and event where we're going to bring Canadian brands together from coast to coast to profile them, to highlight them, and to encourage people to buy and give consumers access and awareness to our great Canadian brands, but also the incredible stories behind them. Because I think, like I said, now more than ever, it's important to connect to these businesses on a human level and understand what's behind these brands. It's not just a fun e-com platform, but there's a human and a story and a lot of creative vision and talent behind our amazing brand. So stay tuned. We're going to be announcing all the details very soon. The other thing I just wanted to mention, as like I've been talking to, again, a lot of Canadian designers, is digital. So a lot of people have e-commerce by now, and for those who have not gotten there, they're definitely working on that right now. And there's a lot of tools that are out there, and I think a lot of free tools. I would check out Shopify because I believe they were doing some free things right now, and I know City of Toronto announced that they're going to help onboard small businesses to e-commerce. So I think it's called Shop Here is the initiative, if I'm not mistaken. So I would check them out, but there are tools right now to help if you don't have an e-com platform to go and start one. But it's going to be very interesting to see in this world of staying close to home and not wanting to touch things, about how brands are going to pivot on delivery, on contactless delivery, and also AI. I've been reading so much about, how is AI going to be used now within digital fitting rooms, and a way to kind of see yourself, especially like in the beauty industry and skincare, because people may not be so keen, sampling and testers and all of that is gonna not be as it was. So there's a lot of amazing opportunities with AI and digital that people are going to be experimenting with, I think, as we kind of again move into this more digital age, and wanting to shop maybe more from home. Again, this is all bearing restrictions, and what's going to happen, your guess is as good as mine, as we kind of go back in different phases, and we're going to monitor the numbers. But I think digital and technology is going to be huge. And, I was reading that even like Tommy Hilfiger, I don't know if you know this, I'm just going to read this. In autumn 2020, we'll launch a collection designed and developed using 3D technology with products modeled on virtual avatars. And then by 2021, all of the brand's collections are going to be designed in 3D. So again, will be very interesting to see how that works, and then how other brands may follow suit. I think also augmented reality is going to be huge within all of that. They're looking at, digital sampling, 3D modeling, and all the data that's going to be coming out of this. I think it's also going to spark, a lot of guidelines and rules about data collection. So watch out for that as well. And I think it's going to be, it's going to also, I know right now the expectations on certain things are really high when it comes to like delivery and how long things take. And I think after this, that experience, when you like order something online and how it comes to you, the expectations are just going to be like, it's going to go up like 10 notches. And I think if you are a brand that plays in that space and is going to be offering delivery, how that's done and how that communication happens between you and your consumer is going to be super important. I read something else today that some people are also turning to just text messaging ordering and text messaging communications when you're dealing with brands, because they were saying, which I guess is true, it's easier sometimes to open a text because we're so used to texting our friends or families than maybe just like emails all the time, or you may choose to open a text faster than getting like a big marketing, mailer or something, or e-blast. So again, all of these ways of communicating with your consumer and how brands are going to pivot in this time is going to be super interesting. And I encourage like fashion brands to really, and designers really do the research to see how is your business prepared for this age. I mean, again, like I said earlier, a lot of brands and designers and creators have had to like mourn and really like rethink their business. And some have been more prepared, some have been doing more digital kind of innovative things, and some less. But I think this moment in time is definitely pushing everyone to do that. And for brands to really survive, they really have to do their research and try to read as much as what's going on in the world, because we as a society will get used to all of that together, and then eventually like really demand that level of service and demand those kind of experiences. You know, it's definitely going to accelerate how we think and feel about how we shop. But I really feel for, you know, brands right now. You know, we've been posting a lot and just recently posted about brands that are really suffering. And there's been, you know, this issue with sometimes getting the funding that you need. And, you know, we just did a post yesterday. I don't know if you saw, like a Canadian brand like Judith and Charles is in trouble right now. And it's a combination of supporting them through obvious, and others, not just them, through, if you can, through buying stuff, but also contacting, you know, different ministers and political people that can actually, you know, help our businesses. I mean, fashion contributes so much to the economy, and not only obviously through the designers, but all the creators that are out there, the stylists, the photographers, the makeup and hair artists, the models, the, you know, all the magazines. We're really all interconnected, and let's not forget that. I mean, brands and designers, they do business one way, and obviously makeup artists, as an example, do business another way, but we all work with each other. We all need each other, and it's important in this time to rally and not only communicate this message to get the attention of those in power, so that then that has a trickle down effect, because you know, it's like when one aspect goes down, everything else kind of starts to crumble. So it's really important. And Canada, compared to the rest of the world, we're amazing, but you know, we're smaller. It's a smaller market, and it's really important to reach out to one another and see how we can help each other. I know a lot of brands have reached out to each other for possible collaborations that they're going to do in the future, which is amazing. And we've seen also incredible pivots from brands to do PPE and switch manufacturing. And that's been really inspiring to see how people have just turned to help, you know, others, whether it's also in shelters or different community groups. And I think, you know, masks are not going to go away. So I've seen a lot of brands making masks. So I think for a while we're all going to be wearing them. So let's support those Canadian designers who are making them, and let's leave the medical masks and, you know, the masks that are, you know, higher grade for the healthcare workers, because they're the ones on the front lines and need them. And let's support our designers who are making masks right now. We keep constantly posting on CAFA's network about who's doing all these kind of great initiatives with PPE. So let's support them, and it's just another way to promote what they're doing. I think it's really a time where we have to come together as a country, but we also have to learn from what's going on. And like I said earlier, there needs to be a shift in a movement, and whether it's starting from markdowns and how that cycle works to like what we were talking about with fashion shows and buying cycles and calendars, we really need to kind of make some changes, but it has to be collectively. It can't just be alone. And like I said, I encourage people to check out the various platforms that are having those conversations right now. All over the world, not just Canada. I mean, we're certainly doing that. And we want to also hear from you about what's going on in your business. You can contact us at, you know, contact@cafawards.ca, or the live email, which is live@cafawards.ca. We want to hear about any thoughts or ideas you have, or trends that you're seeing. You know, I read a lot. I know all of you read a ton about what the trends are. And let's, you know, if we have to do it digitally, we still can do it digitally, and let's get roundtables together and get interesting people together that are going to be agents of change, and have these important conversations, because I don't, you know, it's very rare to have a moment in time like this when you can actually shift gears. And it's been really hard. And we all know who knows who's going to be left standing at the end of this. But our job is to push forward and make sure we come up with solutions, and not just, we know the issues. Let's come up with the solutions that we can help make those changes and pivot as an industry, whatever the specific pain points are here. So we do want to hear from you in various, whatever sector of fashion that you're in, to see how we can come together and make the changes or create the support that we need for our community in a really important way. And let's, for all the consumers, like I said, listening out there, let's support our brands. We will be announcing an initiative very soon of one of the ways you can do that. But also keep looking at Live with CAFA. Next week we have Dante Colley, who is a CAFA nominee, who I think a lot of you know. He's going to be talking about creativity in COVID. And a partner at P1M, Diana Corelli, is also going to join next week. She's going to have her own talk on sharing her perspective on COVID and the fashion industry. I mean, again, repping so many different artists right now as an agency, it's such an important conversation, and seeing how we can support all those artists moving forward, because for many of them, things have just stopped completely. And we need to, like I said, support one another. So I think my time is up here. Let me just, before I go, I just want to read some of these comments that have come. Some of the comments have come about of plus size. Some people want to support Canadian designers, but they don't come in the sizes that they are coming in. So there are some that are doing that for sure. I think we can certainly contact us. We can certainly send you a list of some amazing Canadian plus size designers. Or I don't want to say plus size, but extended sizing. They do all, a range of sizes. I know Hilary McMillan definitely is doing that. So, but send us a note, and we can, like I said, contact at cafawards.ca, and we can definitely send you some great Canadian brands that have extended sizing for you. I guess, let's see if there's any specific question. Yeah, well, somebody also, Barbara said, important to hear stories and talk about the distribution model, so we can talk about these talented designers, and we need to bring back quality local manufacturers. I think, yes, the manufacturing side has been, gosh, I think we've seen that now more than ever. I know when we have to rely on other people or other products, especially we've seen that in this time, it's made us realize how much more that we need in our own country. So I'm hoping that this is definitely going to spark that conversation more with different government agencies and bodies and support. I think we're going to really, hopefully be part of all of those conversations. We've had a few already, but it's definitely something that we need to really look more than ever to right now, and having all of that, produced, having more manufacturing and bringing back more manufacturers to Canada. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh. Yep. Okay. There's a few very specific questions, but I would, just given the time, if you can email me, we can definitely discuss some of those specific issues on industry and where it's going. But like I said, let's support one another. Let's really rethink. This is the time to rethink old models. We can definitely pivot from now. It's forced everyone to think about new ways of doing business, how we're going to get new consumers, how we're going to get new sentiment. But just keep in mind some of these. It's important as marketers to also just think about how we're going to speak to people during this time, and not being not being tone deaf and really looking at what consumers are looking for and how we can pivot our businesses for growth and survival. So thank you everyone for tuning in. And like I said, tune in next week for Live with CAFA with Dante and Diana. Thank you so much and best of luck. And I'm sending my heartfelt love to everyone out there, the models, the photographers, the stylists, the artists, the designers, the brands, the retailers. It is a tough time, and I know everyone's been saying, you know, we're all in this together, and we are. I think let's not be afraid to reach out to each other for support, for help, whether it's both emotional or professional. It's the only way we're going to kind of get through this, and there is strength in numbers. And please, like I said, feel free to contact me, contact CAFA for any ideas or solutions, and we will definitely look at them and take them forward. Thank you so much.